we're going to open the meeting.
All right, hold on, let's make sure Dan's got it. Okay, let's
So
see.
it's being
Dan's gonna do
recorded.
his reading.
Okay, Dan, can you hear us?
Yes, I can. So just before we start, we're running a hybrid meeting tonight. It's the Tuesday, July 20th, 2021 Commission on the City Plan meeting. So it's partially hybrid, partially in person, and the meeting is being audio and video recorded tonight. We do have a public hearing, so I'd ask that members of the public only speak during that portion of the meeting. And with that, I'll turn it over to you, Frank.
Thank you, Dan. So we've established that we do have a quorum, Singh, myself, and Kathy Wazika, and we'll welcome us to seats. I guess at this point, I'd like a motion to approve minutes from the previous meetings of May 18th, June 15th, and July 1st special meeting.
I will make a motion that we approve all three of them. I wasn't here, but I did read them.
Okay. So Kathy's made the motion to approve all those minutes. Singh, could we get a
I'll
second?
second. Yes.
Okay, any discussion of those minutes? Any corrections, amendments, changes? If not, all in favor? Aye. Okay, so those minutes have been accepted. And then we have some communications, Deanna.
Yep, we do. So the town of Montville is the first one. They are amending their zoning regulations, quite a few things they're amending in here. They're, you have it, it's up on, it should be up on the screen. I'm not sure. Actually, it's not. It's just a letter. It's under communications. So they're changing things like farm animals, junkyards, pets, deleting the word hens and using chickens. They're adding some multifamily setbacks. It's pretty much a mismatch of different zoning regulations. I did look at them. They were also parking requirements that they want to be a little bit more flexible with. I don't see any impact to the city of Norwich related to the Montville proposals.
We don't need to take any action on those.
No, the town of Franklin is the next one, and these are related to an application that we have later on our agenda. It's related to the wetlands referral and a referral from the for the Planning and Zoning Commission to both the city of Norwich related to a property that's within an activity of a project within the 500 feet boundary, which is the Wisconsin in Norwich, but it's also in their New Park Avenue. So they this was their referral for wetlands and their referral for their zoning commission.
We don't need action on those, except to the extent that they may affect the later application.
Yep, and I think it would be appropriate to ask the applicant at a later time of what those results were of those applications. And then the last thing is not on the agenda. It's one that came in from Basra. So I apologize, I missed adding it to the agenda. And this was a referral regarding cannabis establishments, and they're putting a moratorium on in their public hearing. On this was June 10th that they did. So it's a little bit late coming in to us. Hi, we're being recorded.
We're
So,
being recorded at this point,
so,
I don't know.
so anyways, this is their application for the cannabis to do a moratorium in their community. So
And
that's
again, no action.
no action. So those are the three referrals that we had for communications.
Okay. So then the next matter is no business, and we have a public hearing and potential action on the following application, special permit number 2102 457 Laurel Hill Road. The request for a special permit to change from an existing non-conforming club use, the American Legion, to a similar non-conforming restaurant, bar, and assembly hall use. An application of Mel Weiss, property of Legion 457 LLC, Assessor's Map 125, Block 1, Lot 12, Zone Multifamily Cam Overlay. So, Deanna, do you have anything that you need to put into?
First, so I need you to do a motion to open the public hearing, and then we'll ask the applicants that's going to speak to come up and sit at one of these two chairs here, or two people sitting here. We are being recorded, and so you need to say your name and spell it for the record as well.
I'll make a motion to open public hearing.
So we have a motion and a second. All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
The opposition. Okay, Okay, so the public hearing on the special permit 2102 is now open and the applicant here for the permit. And just identify yourself for the record, please.
My name is Mel Weiss. My name is MELWIES.
Could you give your address for the record also, too? Please?
I live at 50 Corridor Road, Niantic, Connecticut.
All right. Want to tell us about this application?
Yes, our application is, we purchased the property from the American Legion. They were, veterans organization that had, in the past, was a very, very popular veterans organization that had a lot of members. And over the years, unfortunately, membership has been declining. And, these fraternal organizations are, through, natural history of, how guys and people get older, they started losing membership. So they couldn't fund and own the property any longer in a functional manner. So they started looking for purchasing, for people to buy the property. I was not the first person that they approached. There was many other people they were approached. So I went there and offered to buy the property, and it was accepted through the organization. And then I brought in a couple partners to develop the spot. Our plan is to develop the property in the exact, very similar essence of what the Legion is. I'm a veteran. What we want to do is we want to be a community organization. We want to be a community spot that has a venue with the bar, just like the Legion had, outdoor space, horseshoes. We're going to change the horseshoes into more of a cornhole, outdoor activities, outdoor cooking, family events. Use the hall as the hall has always been used, and continue to operate in that manner. The property is a very large property, has a lot of parking. The building is very structurally sound, needs a lot of work with things like asbestos and upgraded kitchen and upgraded parking, not upgraded, new parking, same as it used to be. There's plenty of parking there, just nobody ever repaved it. So these are a little TLC. And so my partners and I feel that we can use that facility exactly like the Legion used it, except instead of being a fraternal organization, not for profit, we're going to be for profit. So that's what we want to do.
It's just going to be a restaurant.
It's going to be a restaurant with a bar.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
It's not going to be like a club or anything.
Oh, no. It's going to be what our intention is just going to be a restaurant bar with, and we do want to try to offer our space for rent to, we still want to use, rent, for any organization. Say you're early in the morning, we're trying to get other small business organizations to come and rent our spot. We, like they've done in the past, outdoor space. We want to have, if you want to, have a family event and you want to rent the outdoor kitchen, which is there, you can rent the outdoor kitchen. So we don't want to change any of that atmosphere that they had. So it's not a club, we don't like a nightclub.
No. Just like
Not a fraternal organization.
Oh, no, it's unfortunately, no. I mean, no, it can't be a fraternal organization.
Membership.
or no membership or just like a private club.
Yeah.
Or
I'm gonna jump in 1 second.
Yeah.
Dan texted me, Frank and Kathy, when you talk towards the microphone and the laptop.
Sorry.
So we can pick it up for the public can pick it up.
Okay.
I think
Okay.
your voice is loud. Those two, they're having a hard time.
All right.
Just wanted to-
Deep. My voice is deep.
Deep.
Sorry.
No, it's good. So, so not a club, just a for-profit
Yeah.
event, wedding event venue or event venue,
Yeah,
plus
event venue,
being
yeah.
a restaurant bar.
Yeah.
So if you'd like me to go over my comments, we can do that, whatever you'd like, unless you have more questions.
No. Unless you have any questions.
Are there any plans yet at this point, like building plans or anything like that for renovation?
Well, the plans for renovations are basically on new and repaired roof, new kitchen, everything exactly the same, no different layout. The storage rooms are storage rooms, the office is the office, everything is the same, except it's going to be, it's 60 years old. And
Yeah.
so it just needs, I'm sorry. Yeah, oh, there it is right here. So so none of that's changing. It's just a beautiful building. Structurally, it's awesome. Everything else just needs TLC. It needs new paint, new windows.
Excuse me just for a second, Mel. Can we get get that icon off the screen where it says the meeting is being recorded so that we can see
Yeah,
the
you see
whole
it,
thing? Is that possible?
No, that's got to stay up there, Frank. I can zoom in if you'd like me to.
You can't move it to like a corner or something like that?
No, it stays docked.
I mean, it's right over the building. But I mean, it's directly over the building. And so just for convenience sake, there's the only outdoor structures that we want to keep is the outdoor cooking hut and the pavilion. All these other ones are old and that's cool staying. The other ones are old and they've never been repaired. They're in bad shape. We don't want those. We want to replant the grass. We want it all green. The parking we're keeping exactly the same. We hired CLA engineers to relay out the parking as it used to be. 82 spots. We need to do 4 handicap spots up front, which I believe are always handicap spots, but they weren't repainted. They weren't re-signed. The Veterans Memorial out front is gone besides one cannon. We were told that there's veterans organizations that want that cannon. We offered to them, they can have that. And I would love to have them that. So that's what we're doing.
So you're gonna repave it,
Repave.
okay. And are you doing any exterior renovations to the building?
Go ahead, Sal.
We're thinking to do patio with outdoor seating right off the building in the back. Just to add a little patio, so just get outside and be part of the activities outside. But we might be, I don't know, we didn't talk about maybe painting the exterior.
Yeah, I would think that, I think it needs painting. I mean, the building, like I said, structurally is beautiful. There's been some adds and subtractions over the years. So it's a little mosaic of different times. So, I mean, I think a uniform paint with uniform trim, uniform windows, like all the windows when we replace the windows, they're all gonna be aluminum clad, top grade windows with today's R values. So, and then if we're, we went through all the other numbers with other things we've done, but with the paint, if you're spending, $1,500 on a window, I think we're gonna paint I can't speak without my partners really. I think painting is probably part of it.
But the use is going to be basically a restaurant, family style gathering.
Exactly.
Yeah, we want to attract families. It's not gonna be like just a bar.
Okay, last up, if you're gonna talk, you have to sit up here and you have to say who you are, because your voice is on now being recorded. So you gotta move your chair up.
Pull up a chair.
These new rules these days.
We always have to, but now it's more.
Yeah, I know, I understand.
Ask
Yeah,
and
so
say your name.
just state your name for the record and your address, please.
Hi, my name is Asaf Cohen. My address is 3 Rockwell Terrace, right here in Norwich.
Thank you.
So what am I saying?
You're talking about the family venue.
Oh, yes.
And you're talking about the patio, which is, I think is important because we are changing something. They've always had outdoor space. They've always had outdoor food. When I was a little kid, I was at this huge wedding. One of my cousins, I'm not really sure which one, got married. It was like 500 people there. We had indoor space. But right there in the back, you see how the parking lot, and now it's like more like a delivery hall in the back of the building.
Like the drive-through.
The drive, it looks like it goes around the perimeter.
Yeah.
We're gonna put a patio there, and then eliminate that Quonset hut, and so open up that space so it's not because the Quonset hut. I'm sure in its day was useful, but it's an old hut that has been there probably since the 50s. And then we're gonna put a patio there. They probably seat 20, 30 people outside that could easily walk inside or go out to the pavilion and get food at the outdoor cooking.
Yeah, the main focus is to attract families, and they can have a bite outside on the patio and still see their kids playing, in the yard games.
So things like cornhole, we were talking about.
You guys know what cornhole is?
Yeah.
Some people do, some people don't.
Yeah.
But it's,
It's a fun game. It's super popular. It's actually, it's like the horseshoes of today.
Yeah.
Right.
Everybody does it now.
Yeah, exactly. We're still keeping, some of the horseshoe pits, but right there is me, cornhole. There's gonna be, other games and attractions for young kids and adults outside. So that's the summer venue. And then winter venue is gonna be the interior, the hall. The hall will still be open for rent. It'll still be, the hall will be available for events and, weddings. And I'm not, to be honest, I haven't really thought about it, but I don't know if there's, zoning issues, but if we put a big tent out there, like there's a big grassy strip right there. If we put a tent, maybe they could do outdoor, but I'm not sure if that's something, they could definitely use a pavilion. They've done it before where they put the coverings over the picnic tables.
And who's gonna operate the business?
Chuck is
We are going to open.
Yeah, we're gonna operate it. Chuck is gonna be our manager. Chuck, anybody wants to name?
Yeah,
Yeah, on the record.
Chuck Orphis, partners with Asaf and Mel. 47 Columbus Avenue, Niantic, Connecticut.
Thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome.
So you guys are gonna be operating the business.
Yeah, we want to make sure everything is gonna go through with what we are planning to do. And we don't want to give it to the next person, which want to see it differently.
Right, so you're not just renovating it and passing it on.
No,
We're
that's
gonna
not
operate
right.
it.
No.
Question. Now, this is really not related to whether or not I think this should be approved, but what kind of food are you gonna serve? Or have you not decided that?
No, we haven't decided, but we're working on that. It's not super complicated, but it's something we were gonna think about.
It's not gonna be like Italian or
No, it's not. It's gonna be more just. I would say like
American?
it's gonna be American traditional. It's gonna be
It's not gonna be like a fine.
No.
dining.
Dining.
No, it's
gonna be
As long as you have ribeye steaks, it's okay with me.
well, Zach. Well, the thing is, it's gonna be like
You can
steak
bring
night.
your own ribeye steak. We'll cook it on the
Outside grill, yeah. I mean, we have a lot of good ideas for outside, but nothing's been. This is still in its concept phase. We purchased this property last year, and then we closed on it this year. I'm sorry, we got up. We closed on a property this year, and then so we like we stay in two phases. In the summer phase, it's gonna be a lot of outdoor stuff. In the winter phase, it's gonna be indoor.
Is there any driveway, like drive-through also that you're proposing?
Go ahead, saying,
Is there any drive-through as well?
No drive-through. No.
Okay.
Yeah, no.
And it's a single-story building?
Yes, it is. It's
Okay.
about 6,000 square feet. It's a single-story building, concrete and block structure. It has with that 6,000 square feet is about a 3,500 square foot hall. That's the raised part of that building. That's about a 13-foot tall ceiling. And then around the perimeter is a 10-foot tall ceiling, which is the kitchen. There's an old bar that was the main bar for the members. And then there's the entry hall. And then there's a office. And then to the south, that is mechanical room and storage. It's very utilitarian. It's very square, boxy, but the building is very sound.
If you'd like, I can go through just a couple of the longer
Yeah.
memo. I'm gonna hit everything, so it gives them,
what you have.
well, I'd like to go through it all, just so you can hit and respond and that kind of thing. So the first thing that the notifications were mailed to the abutters, and the proof of mailing was request. There's no really any land disturbance activities except for they're gonna just repave, which is already paving there. So we weren't looking for a bond for that, for doing that. It's not within 500 feet of a municipal boundary. So it's also, we consider the CAM exempt because they're really not doing any land use, land disturbance activities. We did send it to other city departments and forwarded to them. Uncas Health District is going to require that the facility be connected to sewer, and they have a memo that's right here. NPU has been notified as submitted comments in an email as well. NPU's email basically is asking that a site plan be created after the fact for the connection to the sewer. They're not necessarily needing this plan because they're asking for a waiver to the site plan requirement to not have to file the special permit, just that special permit certificate and not the Mylar. But they will, after the fact, need that site plan to connect the sewer. So we just didn't want to wait and have that done, okay? So the existing conditions plan is what we looked at earlier. It's not an engineered site plan, but it is sufficient for the purposes of this application. ASIP did submit in on behalf of the application with Mr. Weiss as well. Thank you for writing, Deanna. We'd like to request a waiver for an engineered site plan as requested in zoning regulation 7532. Currently working with CLA to design the sewer line, and we'll keep you updated. Please let me know if you need further information. So that would need to be addressed prior to making any decision on this application. Where the applicant has yet to provide information about any proposed building or freestanding signage for the use, and that since the use is non-conforming, the maximum signage shall not exceed what is already in existence, which appears to be 2 signs by the road. So does that look like what you're going to be utilizing is signage by the road, or will you be looking at doing something different? Okay, so that would be my recommendation, that because it's a non-conforming uses, we just swap out the signage for signage, okay? The landscaping on the property is pretty sparse and kind of unkempt at this time. I'm not blaming you. I think it's just been kind of neglected over the years and there hasn't been that many members. And then I think the plan should be updated to include their plan that you draw out here to show us some landscaping plans, especially around Laurel Hill Road, because the streetscape along 32 could use a little love. So have you looked at that and thought about some plantings out there?
What we thought about doing is just really making what was there nicer, what we thought it was, because it's non-conforming, we want to keep it no change of use.
Okay.
Like the grass isn't sparse, but it's not taken care of. We wanted to keep it green.
Okay.
There's some green, what's that called?
There's a little memorial.
Like memorial there.
Yeah.
We're gonna clean that up.
Yeah.
Just keep the American flag.
Okay. If you go along the roadway around, especially around where those freestanding signs are, it's pretty sparse in that area. I think, especially if you're going to have it as a venue where people want to rent it for family occasions, to do a little bit of flowers.
We're definitely trying,
Okay. I think some perennial flowers or something like that.
Yeah.
So you don't have to spend a lot of maintenance on them, but they'll come up yearly.
Yeah.
It's a perennial shrubs. Okay, or some
Yeah.
shrubs.
Something that
Okay.
is high maintenance.
So then the question was, is there any new exterior building lighting or parking lot pole lighting that's going to be installed there? And if there is, we're going to need those specs. So what are you thinking about for lighting?
Well, right now we were thinking to try to keep everything, because we've been there actually at night trying to figure out if we need lighting, and because there is lighting that's there on the building, and there's some existing street lighting, and there's the lighting around the horseshoe pits. So if we know that if we did want to improve the lighting there, we'd have to have the down the ones that float down and then full cut off and get the current zoning ones. But at this point, we don't know if we need it or not.
Okay, so why don't we, but you just need to know that if you're going to do that, we need to look at those specs and look at a photometric to make sure that we're not, because it is in a multifamily zone, and we want to make sure that, the lighting's there is there, but if you're changing it, then we want to make sure that it doesn't impact the neighborhood.
Right.
Okay?
Yep.
But I have a comment to say about that. But I think that if this is going to be probably used more than the American Legion was, and you want to make sure at night things are safe, you want to make sure you have adequate lighting there. So I think that should be assessed. Now, I mean,
there is outside lights other than those by the horseshoe pit. There's
Right.
some lights in the parking lot.
There is, but that's when we went out to because when we put our application in, we wanted to give you all the information that we thought we were going to use and actually do. So when we were outside looking at it, it's not dark at night. There's lights that go down the south perimeter. There's 3 of them, and there's 2 on the northern side, and there's 2 lights on the building that are like side mounted on the building. It casts a light. It's not dark, and there's also the street lights.
Yeah.
And there's the building to the south north of us is a garage, and they have a lot of lights there. So it's not dark at all. I mean,
I think I've driven by it at night, and I think probably use blue light, but I think maybe.
I
We
think
would
that
definitely
you
open
would
it.
address that.
I mean, we're not against having lighting, but we just didn't, really be honest, we just didn't want to change anything because we didn't want to act like we're going to come here and flip flop this thing.
Yeah.
We wanted to leave it as close to resembling what was there ahead of, from besides making it clean and nice.
So the next thing is, I needed some information from you. I haven't got yet. Maybe you have it for me now. It appears that the number of parking spaces is likely sufficient for the use and that the floor plan, but the floor plan doesn't give us the dimensions of the rooms. So the calculation for a restaurant use is 1 parking space for 75 feet of patron area. And an assembly hall use is 1 space for every 4 seats of total seating capacity. And we wanted you to demonstrate and determine the square footage of the patron area by deducting those 2 offices out of there and the storage room and mechanic room, and then provide the number of seats so I could know if our parking is compliant. I mean, it's not necessarily changing a lot. It is what it is, but it would be nice to see how compliant it was.
Well,
Yeah,
But I think that if we have, if you need more parking based on the size of the building, so if you're gonna have lots of weddings there or whatever,
Mhm.
it looks like your site is large
We
enough that you could
have the
even add a little
overflow,
bit.
yeah, we do have the
overflow parking.
overflow parking area, which we can use also. on
It
the
doesn't
drawing.
need to be
Yeah.
paved.
No,
Well, and if it's non-conforming use, we're just,
It's not really a non-conforming. They're changing it from a non-conforming to something
to
similar.
a similar
Right.
non-conforming
similar
vote.
non-conforming
Yeah,
use.
so I'm not saying he has to improve it right now, but it would have been nice to see how close it was to what.
yeah,
was
I
looking at.
apologize about that. I probably missed that because so the hall,
60 by 80.
60 by 80, so how big is that? 3,000, right?
48.
4,800.
Yeah, and then the kitchen and the other.
It's rough, I mean. if you do
Well,
that-
don't worry, I mean,
Yeah.
it is like you said, we know that there's gonna be overflow. I think that the idea is if you're gonna have overflow parking, not to pave more. We don't want to have more paved parking in that area, but I want to make sure it's just, it's sufficient for your
Yeah.
needs too.
Yeah.
So maybe that'll be a condition that you do provide that information to
Okay.
me, so I have that, okay? The applicant has indicated parking lot's going to be repaved, as the engineer's email indicated 4 handicap parking spaces, including a minimum of 1 van space is going to need to be installed with the signage. And then we're going to want that plan that was done to update, including that as well.
Yes,
So,
that's-
okay.
Yes, we have CL engineers. taking care of it.
And then a permanent dumpster and recycling area should be shown on the plan and installed with fencing around that, because you're gonna have, like, for food and all those and liquor, you're gonna need a
yeah.
place to put
We have a
the
good
recycling.
spot for that. That's
Okay.
a side.
So I'm
piece
gonna
of it,
ask
yeah.
that that be put on the plan as
Yeah.
well. And we're talking about not the plan that's going for the sewer design. I'm talking about updating the one that you gave us.
Yeah,
that-
the one
that
that
it-
spots.
Yeah,
one
we're
that
gonna
says-
be working on a much more professional plan
Okay.
right now with.
And we're not gonna require that you file that one, but I do need it before we file, have you file
Okay.
any approval if, should you get that tonight. The site is partially located within a moderate sensitivity area for archaeological resources. Because of the level of disturbance of the application is really minimal, it's not anticipated that it's gonna be an issue, and we didn't send it to the state archaeologist. However, this should be, however, any item that appears historical in nature as you're doing the parking lot and maybe taking that off and covered during the improvements site, you need to notify the city right away so that we can give you further instructions about evaluation of that. So it's not a high sensitivity area, which we have in the city, but it's a moderate, which means there may be some native artifacts there or something.
Is
okay?
that the?
The whole property falls
Yeah,
within
yeah,
it.
exactly. So it's basically the side of the river up there.
Yep, up there because of that,
If you find something
Yeah.
while you're excavating for the
Yeah.
parking that appears to be an artifact, then you're supposed to stop and notify the city so that it can be evaluated.
And we want that note will be added to the plan. So that's again, a comment in here too. The developed area of the site is not located within natural diversity database, which means it's animals or plant species that we were concerned about, but that's not where you're developing, where you're at. Closer down towards the hillside, there is them down there, but because you're not even disturbing that, there's no referral to the DEP. The interior plan identifies 2 office spaces in the building, and I just want to have you clarify, the applicant has indicated these are related to the use of this as what we're talking about, and they're not to be rented out as office space to anyone. Okay. On June 28th, the applicant submitted adequate responses to the 13 special permit criteria. I did look at those that were listed in 7.7.6. And if you need them to discuss it, they did submit that, and it's with the application. Let me see, there, as required by the zoning regulations, there are criteria that must be met following approval of a special permit, and you should review those. I asked you to do. Those are like filing that special permit on the record, updating the plan. These things you just need to agree that you're going to be doing those as part of your approval. Prior to making any application of the decision, the commission must determine if the decision criteria that they have in their application has been satisfied, the sections that you need. After the close of the public hearing, the first thing you need to act on is the waiver request. And then after that, I would ask that the conditions that I have in my memo are all included. And this is, I just want to clarify that the note, the final revised plans be submitted, include the plan shall be updated, include that note about the historical cultural artifacts, a notification of to the city, additional landscaping that we talked about, the dumpster and recycling location on there, and those handicap spaces shown in accordance with the engineer's comments on that. The rest of the usual things are on here. So these are the conditions. So I would say that I have 11 conditions. But before you do that, after my comments, I want to say that those were all the exhibits are pretty much referenced in I went through them all, the exhibits, and the top of, yep, and exactly, and the top of that screen is all the tabs for all the different exhibits that were part of this application, which are the things from and now if you wanted to ask the public for comments, if anyone's here, I think you're able to do that.
Well, yeah, does anybody, oh, first of all, anybody else from the applicant want to say anything else about the application at this point? Okay. Is there anybody in the public who is online or out in Zoom land want to speak in favor of this application? And Dan, you would be monitoring that, I assume? What's that?
Yep. Yeah, I don't know everyone on the call, but nobody's indicated that they would like to speak.
Okay, so there's no members of the public that we know of who want to speak in favor of the application. Are there any members of the public or who are attending the meeting via Zoom who want to speak in opposition to this application? And Dan, again, you're monitoring that for us on the Zoom end. There's nobody here in person who's attending. So are there any comments or from the public in opposition at this point? I'm hearing none. So hearing none, I assume we can have a motion to close the public hearing at this point. So Kathy's made the motion to close.
I'll second it.
Seconded by Singh. All in favor? Aye. So the public hearing is now closed, and I suggest we move to action on the permit.
The first one would be the motion on the waiver request for the site plan,
So
because the information that we have is sufficient for the purposes of the
I have a question. You kept referring to putting notes on the plan.
but it's that plan that's not a formal site plan.
Okay.
Okay,
That's all I want to read.
They're going to be creating an engineered plan for their hookup to the
Okay.
sewer, but this would be updating that plan that says existing conditions to have
Okay,
more
that you
information
would just have on your.
on
in
for
your
our
record.
file.
Okay, that's fine.
Yep.
they're not going to be filed as.
No,
No.
Okay,
Okay.
okay. I will make a motion to waive the site plan requirement, provided the concept plan or the
Yep.
plan
Existing
detail
conditions. I think it was called
be
existing conditions.
updated and provided to the planning office.
Okay, I'll second.
All right, so we have the motion and a second. Any discussion at all? Hearing none, then all in favor of waiving the site plan requirement? Aye. Okay, so that's done. So then we can move on to the actual special permit itself. Does somebody want to make a motion in connection with the permit?
I will also make that motion to approve the application, with all of Deanna's comments. However, I want to just expand a few of them. One, I would like to see a landscape plan be acceptable to the planner. I would like the signage to be acceptable to the planner, and just hopefully, and I'm sure you will be like this because I know you're from the area, that we would like to see some nice signage there, not to be, that the lighting be acceptable to the planner. the parking calculations be acceptable to the planner, and that if you need additional parking spaces based on the calculations, that can be provided as overflow parking that does not have to be paved, in my opinion, if that's okay.
It's your motion.
Yeah, okay, I'm just saying, the dumpster look, has to be acceptable to the planner and, with fencing that is aesthetically pleasing. Let's see. And otherwise, those were the only additions I had to her comments. And,
Just to clarify, is usually for them would be like a vinyl type of fence or something that's not just.
yeah,
like a chain
not
link
a
or
chain
anything.
link, that's what I'm, you know.
Yeah.
we can
Just
do
want to
some-
clarify for her.
Yeah, I do a lot of site work, so I know exactly what I'm talking about.
I know you-
We could do the
Yeah,
vinyl top, the crown
Right.
top.
and in a location that's not,
Actually, there's a perfect location on the site, which there's a piece of property that is part of our properties. And it's behind the garage, and the garage will hide it, and we can easily enclose it in fencing.
okay.
And meaning the garage, meaning the neighbor to the north.
Okay.
Yeah.
And otherwise, I think the application complies with all of the special permit criteria. It provided all those items.
So we have a motion, Singh.
Yes, I'll second to all what Kathy told.
All right, thank you. All right, any further discussion on the motion? Hearing none, all in favor?
All right,
Right. No opposition, so the motion as posed by Kathy has been approved. So your special permit is approved with the conditions that you heard.
Understood.
All
Thank
right.
you for your time.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Good luck.
Thank
Yeah,
you.
good luck.
Thank you. Have a great night.
So,
I know.
Just kidding.
Have a good night, guys.
Good night. Thank you.
Yes, yep.
Thank you. All right, so moving on to old business, we have site development plan 273M, 40 Wisconsin Avenue. This is a modification to a site plan previously known as site development plan 273 for existing manufacturing and warehousing facility. Proposed improvements include restriping of existing parking lot and utilizing existing ingress egress driveways for a proposed 182 tractor trailer parking area to be installed on a portion of the property located in Franklin. Excuse me. Application of the Grossman Company's property of Norwich, 40 TGCI LLC. Assessors map 27, block 1, lot 13, zone BP Business Park. This was tabled from June 15th. So where are we on that? Do we have somebody here on behalf of the application?
I think there is, yeah.
Yes, good evening, Mr. Chairman. Can you hear me? My name is Dave Ziyax.
Yes, I can. Thank you.
I'm a professional engineer with the engineering firm F.A. Hesketh Associates. We're located up in East Granby. And we've been working on the site plan both in Franklin and here in the city and working with staff on that. I can report to you that up in Franklin, we have received full wetlands approval. And actually tonight is the final night for site plan approval there. One of my partners is in Franklin tonight making that presentation. And I can report to you that we had reached agreement with staff and had addressed all of their review comments up in Franklin, but I'm not sure if it got approved tonight or not. Maybe we'll get a text message in the next few minutes to find out. But basically, we're here. It's an interesting parcel in that it's about 60% in Norwich and 40% up in Franklin. But really, the bulk of the site work that we're proposing is all in Franklin. And there's very little change in Norwich. Mr. Chairman, can I share the screen?
Yeah, absolutely. Dan, can you accommodate that? Hopefully, if our technical people can do it. I can tell you, I couldn't help you with that.
Let's see. Ah, there we go. We're lucky.
Okay, there we go.
Yeah, there's the portion. Can you see that? That's the portion that's in Norwich. As you can see along the top, there's the Franklin Norwich town line is that dashed line. And the existing building is 221,000 square feet. It's been historically used for light manufacturing and other industrial uses. It has two driveways down to Wisconsin Avenue. It's way up at the end of Wisconsin Avenue in your BP zone. And there's a driveway to the south. South is on the left side of the plans and north is basically on the right side of the plans. So we have two driveways that lead into the property now. And there's really no development to speak of up in Franklin right now. It's a hilly wooded portion of the property. The total site's about 25.8 acres, and 14 and a half or so are in Norwich, and 11.3 or so is up in Franklin. That's zoned industrial as well. So we have the two existing driveways to Wisconsin. We're not proposing any changes there. The driveway on the north side is really for trucks. And then the driveway on the south side is for the vehicle, car parking area that's on the south side of the building. And back, there was a site plan approved for this site that had 218 spaces. Currently, that parking lot was recently repaved, but they did not stripe it back to 218 parking spaces the proper way. So really, that's the bulk of the work that's proposed in Norwich, is to properly restripe that parking lot and reestablish the handicap parking, ADA parking, in conformance with both the city regulations, and ADA standards. So that's the really the work that's within the Norwich portion of the property. If we take a look at, just for so you understand, this is the second sheet, and again along the bottom here is the Franklin Norwich town lines, the existing building I have shown in this highlighted color. And what we're proposing to do is to construct a new parking lot up in Franklin for 182 tractor trailer parking spaces. And really the reason for this is for the reuse of this building is, things are changing dramatically in the manufacturing and industrial uses. A lot of it involves distribution, and some people refer to it as logistics. But basically, new tenants are looking for the ability to park additional trucks associated with their property. And this site, as it's currently configured, is short on that, and it narrows down the possibilities for re-tenanting the building. So this additional truck parking is very important to re-tenant this building and make it a successful industrial enterprise here in the city. We did prepare a traffic reports, and city engineer indicated they'd like to see a traffic report. So our staff prepared one and we submitted it, really with the focus on vehicles heading south down Wisconsin Avenue, looking for, Route 32 and 395 and Route 2 is really, where the gist of this traffic will come from. And we prepared a study. We analyzed the various intersections along Wisconsin Avenue, and then as it leads into the other roads that lead down to 32 and 395. And we found that everything operates at a good level of service. There are really no safety concerns. The sight line at the two driveways is very good. The driveway geometry is a little bit awkward, but that's an existing condition, and you're coming down off a fairly hilly site. So there's no changes to those driveways there. Given the size of the project, it will require an application to OSTA, which is the State Office of Traffic Administration. It will be an administrative decision application since we're not proposing any improvements to state highways. And but given the size of it, it needs to be certified. So we've already made that application, and we'll be working our way through that process with DOT. There were other staff comments.
Here's a question.
Yes,
Yeah, so the driveways, are they both going to be utilized for tractor trailer vehicles? Or just-
no, really, we're looking at using the north drive only for trucks and the south side only for, vehicles for cars. And in working with staff, what we've come up with is a signage plan for the project that's shown here on this sheet LA2 that will clearly indicate that there's not to be any truck traffic on the south side of the building. Anyone loading on this side of the building will go back around clockwise around the building and use the north driveway. And the north driveway is actually configured the right way. We want it to be configured because we see the traffic, truck traffic heading up north, up Wisconsin Avenue, again from the state highways, and then returning in that direction. So what we've indicated with additional signage at that driveway is you're not to make a left-hand turn. Trucks are not to make a left-hand turn onto Wisconsin Avenue and head more towards residential development further on in the city roadway network. So we're really focusing everything south down Wisconsin Avenue through the industrial park out to 32 to 395 type of area.
How wide that existing driveway is? What's the dimensions of it?
Oh, I'm not exactly sure, but it's every bit of 24 feet. So, it's more than adequately wide enough for that. I mean, it's been operating with truck traffic now for many, many years.
So it's wide enough for two-way truck traffic comfortably?
Yes, it's not a one-way pattern. Yes, it's wide enough for two trucks, yes. And there were other staff comments, which I believe we've addressed. I think there was a memo recently from the city engineer to planning indicating that their comments were addressed. And I think the planning department comments were pretty well addressed. Again, one of the comments was to add that additional site signage, which we've done. And again, we have wetlands approval, and there was, I believe, staff approval for wetlands only in Norwich, since we really have no impact on any wetlands in the city. There was a full-blown major application in Franklin, and we were successful there. We have a wetlands permit in Franklin because the drainage from the new truck parking areas and everything heads to the water resources in Franklin. And so between that and the upland review areas, a full application was necessary in Franklin, and we did that. So that's basically it. In summation, for as far as the improvements within the city limits, it's really just reconstructing and the layout for the 218 parking spaces that were part of an old site plan approval. And then some additional signage to make sure that the trucks are following the pattern we want them to follow. And then the site plan approvals up in Franklin. So I'd be happy to answer any questions you have.
Another question. Is it contemplated that this parking area for the trucks are for trucks that are going to be associated with the tenant in the existing building? Or this isn't going to be a free-for-all parking area for truckers, is it?
No. This is will be for tenant driven, purely tenant driven.
Okay.
Just to clarify, so everyone can hear me, just to clarify, the reason we felt this application should come back to the commission is because the site, even though it splits between Franklin and Norwich, all of the truck traffic and activity that's in Franklin is coming through Norwich. And we felt that it was considerably different from the original approval that showed all the activity of this project happening in Norwich and nothing in the Franklin side. Right. So we felt important to come back. We also wanted to look at those curvatures of those driveways to make sure that people are safe. I just do want to quickly mention the traffic report. We feel comfortable with what was said, but there was a couple recommendations in here. The truck traffic will be limited to the use of the north driveway with access to and from the south only along Wisconsin Avenue, and integral signage will be provided directing our truck drivers to utilize the north driveway only. In response to comments made by our Norwich City engineer, the property owner and developer will agree to instruct the end user, whoever that is, the tenant that's there, that their truck drivers, that they are not to use Stott Avenue and Plain Hill Road to access the site. That all truck traffic will be informed to utilize the north driveway accessing to and from on Wisconsin only. And that's because of all the other uses potentially that are up there. The conclusions were the proposed warehouse development has the potential to generate about 39 new trips during the morning peak hour and 122 new trips during the afternoon peak hour, assuming the most intensive warehouse use is there. And it talks about the rest of that, potential peak hours and things. The engineer, our city engineer, reviewed it and was comfortable with it. We know that there is some existing non-conforming residential use in our business park, but it is a business park. This was a warehouse use. And the market is really driving the need for the tractor trailers. Like the applicant was saying, that most of the spaces that were here were just regular parking spaces. There was some tractor trailer parking, but it was really employee type of spaces there. But anyone that's looking for warehouse use are looking to have those places to put their tractor trailers. And again, we did clarify that it's not to become a building is used for one tenant use, and the back, the tractor trailers is a totally different tenant doing that. It's integral. It's tied into whoever that tenant is. It's their use for tractor trailers.
Before we go any further, I just want to make a comment for the record, because I just heard something that I want to put on the record. Deanna, in going through the engineering report and the comments, indicated that there was to be a note or a restriction that traffic not use Plain Hill Road and Stott Avenue. I just want to know it on the record, and if anybody has a problem to say it now, that I live on Plain Hill Road, and I was unaware of the proposed restrictions that were just made. So if anybody, wants me to recuse myself because of that, to make that request at this point. That was the first I've heard of it.
Yeah. We have no problem, Mr. Chairman.
Okay, I just want it on the record. I don't want somebody coming back later on and saying, well, we didn't know.
And I can tell you up front that our chairman did not contact us about anything, and I was not even aware. I don't pay attention to where the commission members live. So any review comments that were made by staff have nothing to do with any commission members. We're not aware of it. We don't pay attention to where they live in the city. And so I've known that.
Yeah, I just want to know because it's a condition. I live there, and obviously.
Yeah, we appreciate that, Mr. Chairman, and we respect the integrity of the commission.
Okay, thank you. Like I said, I didn't want to.
We did get a photometric on the lights, and the drainage was looked at. The drainage is all in Franklin. We're not concerned about it. Doesn't come towards Norwich, so the topography flows that other direction. It did get a wetlands agent approval for minimal site disturbances, a little bit upland review on that right where the where that line is on the right corner there. There's a tiny bit of a wetland right there.
Right in there, right there.
So there was a little bit of activity in the bucket, really upland review, not necessarily buffer. I would say that my recommendations to the commission, should they make a full favorable motion on my number 12 of my memo, dated June 4th, 2021, has a number of conditions, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 of them that are standard conditions. We would like a copy. We're not expecting a bond for the city of Norwich, but we'd like a copy of that they do a coast and erosion and sediment control bond in Franklin. So we're aware that that's in place. But so we have our conditions that I would recommend to you, and the proposal conforms with our chapter 2.1 and 7.5 of the regs.
Good.
I have nothing else for you.
Anybody else have any comments? Anybody from the applicant or any members of the commission have any comments or questions at this point? Hearing none. Thing?
I'm all set. Thank you.
Okay, I thought somebody was saying something. So hearing none, then perhaps we could have a motion in regard to the permit.
Okay, I'll make a motion to approve the application with the Deanna had outlined. And want to make sure that the issue of the truck use is only for the tenants that was in your list. right?
Yeah, we could just make that, clarify that,
Yes.
that the tractor trailer parking is only associated with the tenant use.
Right,
Okay.
that Plain Hill Road will not be used.
Yeah. Scott,
And that's not because of.
So that was Stott and Plain Hill.
Yeah, but- right,
Okay.
but that's always been a concern of the industrial park. You know, the
Mhm.
use of the industrial park, that not a lot of usage be, yeah. And
Alright.
it shouldn't.
Got it.
Okay, so we have,
I'll second it.
and we have a second from Sang. Any other discussion at this point? Hearing none, I'll put the motion to a vote. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Aye. So that's unanimous. The motion is carried and the site development plan is approved with the conditions as laid out in the motion and the planner's memo.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
You're welcome. Thank you for your presentation.
Thank you. Good night now.
Right. So, your other business, we now have a city council referral for June 21, 2020, it says 2020.
21,
I
that's a
assume,
typo.
I assume
21.
it's 2021.
Sorry.
Otherwise, we're a little late.
No.
So this is an ordinance amending zoning regulation, section 2.2, summary of uses by district, and zoning regulation, section 2.5, planned commercial district, PC, principal uses and activities in the PC zone of the Norwich Code of Ordinances to add the following: section 2.2 table under use category, storage rental facility, add as a principal use in the planned commercial district, section 2.5.3 under requires site plan review, and add 0.3 storage rental facility.
I can explain this to you. So this is an application that's in front of the city council, not initiated by the city. The applicant is Owen Gunset Inc. Out of Owen Gunset
okay.
Inc. They're out of Westbrook, Connecticut. It's OWUNNEGUNSET Inc. And their application was for a text amendment. And what this is really about is a text amendment to add storage rental facilities as a principal use requiring site plan in the planned commercial zone. Currently, it's not allowed in that zone, the planned commercial zone in the city, which is in several locations. I don't have the zoning map up right this moment. I apologize. But it's allowed in our general commercial zone, storage rental, and some other locations. And since so many of the uses are very overlapped with the planned commercial, they felt that it was appropriate to be allowed there. So this would be adding it in our table, that it requires site plan review. And then in that section 2.53, which is each section has the uses all spelled out, is adding that 0.3 under site plan, adding the number 3, which would be storage rental facilities.
Is this a map
So
up now?
thank you for showing that, Dan. If you could point out for, it's that blue color, correct? That kind of royal blue. There, let's go ahead.
So it's by Walmart.
Yes, and there's a few other
Oh.
pieces you can see around. Dan, is there any other in the city?
So what, can you just tell me what that planned commercial one is, that one that?
I don't know. I think there's a few others in the city. They're really odd places for planned commercial. I don't know why they were zoned that way. So if you go down, you can see there are really abutting other commercials. There's usually GC right next to them. There's the GC there. There's a GC go down to the lower part of the map too, Dan. And you can see that GC goes along the whole quarter of 82 until you get to about where 395 is. And then on the other side where Walmart is planned commercial there. So,
Okay, but now, looking at that, there's not a lot of planned commercial zones. I mean, not a lot of, there's a lot of little spaces. but
there's this
not-
big chunk right
Yeah,
here.
that's big.
There's here.
Yeah.
Dan, can you go ahead and move it again?
There's not big chunks.
So you're saying that the storage rental facilities are already permitted in the general commercial areas?
Yes, but they're
Which
not,
these areas abut.
in most cases, yes, and not everyone, but in majority of them.
Yeah.
And they're so similar, you wouldn't necessarily know that transition is happening. So I'm not saying that this is a planning recommendation. This is actually a referral from
This is a request by
the
somebody
council.
who.
Yes, and
Yeah.
it's exactly an outside
who
applicant.
wants a change so that they
So
can build.
somewhere in one of those planned commercial zones, they would be able to do storage rental facilities, or not necessarily that it's added in here, that maybe in the future someone
In the
else could.
future, yeah. But
So
this is just our recommendation,
This
one
would
way or
be-
the other, to the
yes,
city council, whether to adopt this or not.
yes, it's up to the city council's and zoning authority. They're asking for your referral. Usually you give a favorable or non-favorable.
And that's based on
recommendation.
what's in the plan of conservation and
Yep,
development.
in their comments here, if you want to look at their application, I think that they give a narrative, and I will read it here. In accordance with the requirements of the city charter, the undersigned council to Gon Quartet is submitting this memorandum in support of the application filed by the same name for the amendment of chapter 2 of the zoning regulations by adding storage rental facilities that allow use of the planned commercial district subject to site plan approval, which they are subject to site plan approval in the commercial district. The section shall be modified, and that's exactly what I said. The reason for the proposed change is to permit the development of properties within the planned commercial district PC zone for storage and rental facilities. At present, such facilities are permitted in the general commercial zone, subject to site plan approval, but not included within the planned commercial zone. The uses for the two districts overlap in many respects, but while the GC zone allows for storage rental facilities, the PC does not. We believe that the parcels that are provided for in the PC zone are readily adaptable for attractively designed storage rental facilities, and it would provide additional available storage for the growing apartment rentals in the Norwich area, which do not have sufficient available storage for families. It does not adversely impact the general health, safety, and welfare of the city, and will certainly be of a benefit in that it will provide a clean and safe place for residents to store their property. So that was their reasoning for it.
I'm not 100% convinced by this because I don't think we have a lot of commercial land really available that. And I'd have to really look at that. I don't feel 100%.
So, I mean, we're just making a referral one
Right.
way or the
But
other,
I
so.
think I'd like to make a referral based on, I wish I had. looked
Well,
at this a
they're
little
looking,
closer.
they're looking at this, I think, at their first meeting in August. I mean, the commit, you guys could hold a special meeting
No.
if you wanted to, or table their action, and they would table their action if you wanted to. But I think they give you a certain amount of time, I think 35 days, maybe it's 60 days. If they don't hear anything from you, it's considered, kind of moot at that point. So it's up to you, if you want to, take a vote on what kind of referral that you want to do.
I'm not 100% on this. I feel a little bit, I'd like to look at the areas a little bit more to see.
Tell the
If-
council that you
But I don't
didn't
wanna-
take action on it. If you don't want to tonight, you want to hold it later.
I think their meeting is on August 2nd.
Yeah, well, we're not meeting again
No.
before that.
No.
I certainly can't make a special meeting
No.
before that. I'm gonna be away for the
But
next
you
2
could,
weeks.
but
so.
you have time if you want to take it up at your next regular meeting. They just won't be able to do anything
I
with
mean,
this till
what would
September.
we anticipate different at the next regular meeting?
Well, I personally, I would look closely at the areas that were zoned PC. And I can see on the map that it
Mhm.
was the
Can you go back to the map,
Walmart
Dan?
area, the Norwichtown area, it looked like.
There's a but the Norwichtown area, I can clarify, in the overlay that we have for the village district specifically prohibits storage facilities.
Okay.
So we
So
don't
that-
have to worry about the Norwichtown area
So that-
necessarily.
The one triangular piece, is that the Norwichtown Mall?
Dan, can you talk
What is
about that?
I
Can you?
can't-
Yep, yeah, this one right here is the Norwichtown Mall, and this is the foot of K Street by the big white building and the Dime Bank and Friendly's and
Likelihood
whatnot.
is very limited because there's
Okay.
not really area there. The Norwichtown property is prohibited because it's in the village district,
Okay.
so it wouldn't happen there. Dan, do you want to show the other locations?
Sure, and then we have out the large area out by Walmart and exit 11. This spot right here is Marcus Plaza, that's all built out. The other one is Uncas on Thames campus.
That's not gonna get built out.
And then the last piece is out on 165 by the supermarket, or the former supermarket.
Those the two basic locations. that
There
it
or
could go,
there.
right, there or Walmart, I don't have a problem with it.
So let's,
Yeah.
you want to make, somebody
I mean,
want to make a motion on the referral?
I would like your opinion.
Exactly how I feel, Kathy. It's like when I narrowed down, at first I was like, oh, town, then we have our village district that
Right.
prohibits it. The other places are built out in those couple different locations that Dan
Okay.
pointed out. I mean, I can't imagine they're gonna pull down a shopping center that's active to do, storage. But there's maybe possibly where Dan pointed out the last lot out there, or somewhere that's vacant, going out towards Montville, in that area. But, again, you'd have to look at particular.
Okay,
properties.
so can we just talk about this a little bit? So, like I said, we don't have a lot of area for commercial development. So do we want storage in that area? I mean, I think it would fit in, but I'm thinking
So I
economically, do
guess
we want
just
that?
authorizing it doesn't mean it's gonna happen.
No, I know,
It's up
but-
to the owners,
Right,
you
but
know,
they're not
if the
gonna-
owners want to put storage in there. My philosophy
come
is
before
if
the
an
commission
owner
as
wants
far
to
as
do
how it's-
something, then.
And it's gonna come
that's
before
their
the
business.
commission as a site plan. It would not be a zoning permit approval.
Right,
So
right,
that
right,
brings you a
right.
little bit more of, looking
Right.
at it. But
But I think we have to think about the use, and is
Yeah.
that what we want to use our planned commercial area for? Do we want to see storage?
But
when
that's
we-
not the only use allowed in
No,
the
I
planned
understand
commercial
that,
area.
I understand that, but they've submitted the application for a reason. They didn't submit it because they want to submit it, they submitted it because they have an idea that they're going to do this.
So I guess I would look at it, Kathy, without sharing additional information that I can at this time. What I would say is properties that are being considered or that are in that planned commercial zone have been problematic in the past for many other development type of uses for different reasons.
Okay.
So I think that the developable parcels are being developed and being spoken
Yeah.
with us.
Okay.
So I don't feel that if it's a highly valuable piece in the sense that
Mhm.
it's right on 82, right,
Yeah.
like going, right, I mean, it can be on 80, but I'm just saying like a really desirable piece that's been, if it's hot, it's not gonna go for store. You know what I'm trying to say? I think it would be something else.
But
Um,
we
my
have no,
thought on it,
yeah,
too.
we have no guarantee.
No, we don't. We don't have a
And-
guarantee, but I like the fact that in our regulations, even though people say we push it a little too far sometimes, we do require architectural design, architectural plans.
Right.
And people say, well, but your site plan is site plan, but we still require that in our regulations. And I think that we've been really good about massaging that in the sense of getting the best design that we can when under site plan as well as special permit. Lot more
Oh,
teeth in
wait a
special
minute.
permit.
So can I ask you, is that the area that's near, okay, no, it is not, that's just commercial.
So,
right? The area where's Ames Plaza? That's not planned commercial, is it?
Yep, it is. It's in the plan, that's Ames Plaza in there, right?
there.
Yep.
Okay,
So that shows you a little bit better because you can kind of see the underneath that, you can kind of see a
Yeah.
little bit of it. And obviously there's housing up in the other part. That's not gonna happen because that's already there. So, you see where Walmart is, down
I
there.
just, like I said, I just think from a perspective of just living in Norwich
Yeah.
and wanting places to go,
Yeah.
and we have limited
I hear you.
planned commercial areas. Do I want to see our very valuable planned commercial, and I know they won't develop, well, do I want to see our valuable planned commercial areas used for storage? And that's my question. I mean, can they find another location for storage? Probably, but
But
I
you gotta
just,
think of also our general commercial zone, which is very highly desirable for
Right.
commercial development, already allows
Allows
it as
it.
a special as a site plan development.
Right.
So we're talking really our high, really good, where all our fast foods and, all those kind of things on that high busy
Yeah.
section of 82 could have it there. So what's
Yeah.
the difference? I guess that was their point, is it's already in
Yeah.
the general commercial zone where we're already using it there.
Right.
Why would we not allow it?
Because it's more of a planned situation. It's
Yeah.
not like the general commercial is hodgepodge. This,
Yeah.
we want to promote planned development here.
But the Walmart sort of planned development, and that's in that zone, and that's not super great. I mean, you know what I'm trying to say?
I know,
It's
but
like the way
it would be awful if we saw
No.
that area used
No.
for
No,
storage.
yeah, no, and I'm just saying, but there's other, some of it is already taken. And Dan, what did you say that other piece is up there that's already a shopping center where it's planned commercial up there
Yeah, that's,
to the right?
right over here.
Oh, no, keep going. Yeah, that one. What is that again?
That's that plaza.
That's Marcus.
Marcus Plaza with ShopRite and TJ Maxx.
That's not gonna become any storage anytime soon, So
Yeah.
it's just, that's the thought. Again, they're looking for a referral. It's ultimately the council's
Yeah, I mean, we
decision.
don't have the ultimate decision.
Right, but
anyway, so-
I think we need to
No.
make a plan, a
Yeah.
good planning decision
Yeah.
and good planning recommendation. That's what our duty is.
Yeah. So what would you
Um,
like to do on this one? We can table if you want, but I'm gonna tell
I
them
don't
it won't be
know.
till
I don't,
September.
Singh, do you have any comments? Singh?
Thing,
Sorry, I was on mute. Yeah,
Do you have any
I have
com-
no problem giving them favorable here. Seems like we already have storage even by the Ace Hardware, and K Street is not that far, and something is better than vacant buildings.
Do you want to make a motion?
I'll make the motion to give favorable recommendation.
Okay, so there's a motion, you're gonna second it?
I'll second it.
Okay, so there's a motion and a second for a favorable recommendation. Any further discussion?
No, I just want to say, even after giving them favorable recommendation, plan's still gonna come to Commission of City Plan for reviews, So we still, I'm sure we still have say on a lot of things, but,
Yeah, what's gonna happen.
Yeah.
Yeah, they require a supermajority vote, but it doesn't mean it has to happen just because we refer it.
I'm almost thinking that I know that you don't usually do stuff like that, but I just think we
Well,
need to
your
look at it
recommendation can be that the text amendment be modified, that is a special permit required
Or a special-
for, a special permit required for it in the planned commercial zone. Just kind of mimic what's in the general commercial, but if you feel that.
Yeah, I would go with
But,
that.
so. Sing
I
the-
have no problem with that.
You want to amend your motion?
Yeah, I'll amend my motion and include that language along with my recommendation, favorable recommendation
That the, with the.
For a
okay,
special exception?
with the special. Yep.
Special permit, that the approval process, we're just gonna clarify, approval process, be by special permit and, instead of, or in lieu of, instead of site
Permitted as
plan.
a right.
Like
And
site plan,
the
because that's
re-
what they're asking
The
for.
reason being,
Because, okay, go ahead.
I can't speak for Singh, but in my opinion, the reason being is that then we can be site specific. If we don't think it's an appropriate site,
Yeah.
then we can say no. And I would feel more comfortable with that.
Okay, okay, so the site plan, because the CCP can,
Have discretion
has discretion, okay.
based on site,
Yeah, this, yeah.
specific site locations.
Based on specific site locations. Okay, so this is what I'm gonna have, so I got it. So it's basically that you're giving a favorable recommendation with the modification, okay, with modification that the approval process be by special permit instead of site plan, because the CCP has has discretion
Over site.
based on a specific site location.
Right,
I'll
that's
come up
right.
with a
Okay.
specific wording, but
Thank you.
I know
Thank
what
you.
you're trying to say.
Yeah.
Okay, so that was what do we have? That was the motion from saying.
Yes, that was motion.
As amended and seconded by Kathy.
Yep.
Any other discussion? Hearing none, all in favor?
Uh,
Aye.
Thank you
So
for
that
saying.
carries as amended then.
Okay, good. So we have another referral next, okay?
The next referral is regarding an ordinance appropriating $740,000 for the planning, permitting, and engineering of infrastructure access in the Occam section of the city, and authorizing the issue of $740,000 of bonds of the city to meet said appropriation, and pending the issuance thereof, the making of temporary borrowings for such purpose.
So I have a question. NCDC is in somewhat involved in this. It doesn't specifically state that, but it kind of talks about down at the sum is appropriate for planning, permitting, engineering of infrastructure access in the Occam section of the city, authorizing the issuance of $740,000 in bonds, including blah, blah, blah. I just wanted
What's
to,
it for?
Who proposed the ordinance?
the city did. This is about money. This is, I'm not sure.
So it's not an NCDC proposal.
No, but does it have anything with NCDC in here? Just wondering. So it's really for the city to move forward with planning. It's
Is it for the planning of that park that they, all
it does not specifically state that in here.
right.
So I
I
don't
can't-
think I need to recuse myself
Okay.
based on that.
I think that I'm not going to recommend in favor of this until we know what it's for. I mean, if they're going to say it's for streets, sewers, whatever, but I mean,
Well, do you want
Have
me to
no
read the
idea.
whole thing?
yeah,
All right, I'll read the whole thing.
or just, no, I don't want you to
Why
read the
No, I
whole
would-
why
thing.
don't you give it to Kathy to read rather than reading it out loud?
Okay,
Or just,
and it's up on the screen, but yeah,
I
it's
can't
easier for
read
you to
that
read
from
it right there.
just show me where it says. it,
All
so I
right, so
don't
it
have to
starts
read
on the
whole
first
thing.
thing, the section. What is appropriate
Okay,
for planning,
yeah.
permitting, engineering, infrastructure.
Yeah,
Okay, you can
does
read
it
it.
say where else, what else they're doing? What they're specified?
I think you need to look at it.
Okay. Well, it's gonna take me a
I
minute.
think, yep, so we're gonna, wanna take a short
Yeah, we
recess
can
for a minute?
recess. We're in recess.
So put us on pause, Dan. Again. Dan, can you hear it
Yep.
again?
All right.
Yep,
You're back on, the recording started.
I'm gonna turn this back here.
So Dan, I think we're going to have a motion to table action on this referral to city council
When do you wanna
with a
table it
request,
to the next regular meeting?
table to the next regular meeting with a request for more information regarding the purposes of the bond.
Okay, where's more information regarding, I'm just writing everything down. Purposes of the bond. Okay,
And who made and seconded that?
taking the motion.
So Kathy, are you making a motion? And can we have a second thing?
Yes, I'll do the second.
Okay, so we have a motion as stated with a second. And I'm going to call it because it's a motion to table, so there's no discussion. So all in favor?
Aye.
Sing?
Aye.
And aye, so that's unanimous. The matter is tabled till next meeting for the purposes as stated.
Okay. Thank you.
You're welcome. The next matter is a draft of the open space fee language, and is that
I'd like that table because Mike is reviewing some of that comments on that, so we
Mike
can.
Layham?
Yep, table to the meeting in
So that's
August.
being tabled also.
The next
and
one is
then the-
just a FYI more, there's no action required. That should be for Mike Driscoll, and I have not got an update where it is with him, if it's gonna,
Okay, so maybe it'll be up next time.
okay.
Extension requests, we have none. Bond reductions, we have two.
Yep.
We have SDP 214 Bergeson, also known as Forest View Drive, tabled from 6/15/2021.
Give me a second. So I have a memo from Richard Shook dated July 12, 2021, pursuant to Mr. Computaro's request for the release of the bond associated with site development plan 838A. I inspected the site city engineer, and the project has not been completed. However, the property is stable. There is paved apron leading to the pump station, and the pump station is screened as shown in the plans. At this time, there's no further activity underway, and the approvals to construct additional units have expired. I recommend release of the bond currently being held by the city of Norwich for site development plan 838A, Richard Shook, and that has also been concurred with the city engineer. There was some questions about some of the things that needed to potentially didn't go in. There was some a little bit of landscaping and some parking the way it was, but years ago they finished that phase.
Is this Parkwood?
This is that Forest View Bar Drive. I don't know what the name of the development is. I think it's called Forest View, isn't it? Dan, do you know? It was 214 Berkison.
Yep, it's Forest View.
Yep. So anyways, the bond that we have, which I think I had earlier in here, the bond amount, they would like it released because they're not going to come back with a brand new plan to do different design because it's like expired. It doesn't, it doesn't fit our regs the way it is now. It's also not an approved use anymore up in the business park. So I think I have that the city may still be holding $100,000. So I'm not going to have you give a specific amount, but just if you would say that we can release the bond for this project, 838A.
All right, can we have a motion on that issue, please?
Mine, Sam.
Huh?
I'll make that
I
motion.
really shouldn't be as chairman.
I'll make that
Yes.
motion.
Kathy's made the
Thank you,
motion.
Kathy.
Mr. Bond Singh,
Yes, I'll second it.
okay, motion and second, any discussion?
I just have a quick question.
Sure.
So the plan has expired.
Yep.
And they didn't do everything they were supposed to do.
Well, no, they kind of did everything they were supposed to do because there was, the original development had more condos, okay?
Right.
Then they then they only did part of the phase. Then in the meanwhile, I guess, you can correct me, I'm not 100% sure, NPU needed a pump station there, so things got changed around.
Uh-huh.
And they put the pump station in and did some of the work, and then they never built the phases. And now they are way past the 14 years of doing,
But the phase one is as an entity.
it's done, but there's a few little things Rich found, so that's why he wanted to say, hey, let's hold the bond. It's not even the same owners anymore. A different developer bought it. And
Oh,
so
it's not even their money?
no, so
We'll go
that's,
back to the person
yeah,
who
so
owns
it's just kind of like,
bond.
where this guy,
the
well, I think
original
it's his
developer.
money, but I think what he,
But how?
so what happened was
What
he
kind of
bought
bond
it.
is it?
I think it's a yearly bond.
Oh,
Anything
that means
great.
we don't have the money.
Yeah, so
They
it's
haven't
not
paid
really,
for
I
it,
don't, I'm
so-
pretty sure so in that particular case, it's not a big
Yeah.
deal. It's just kind of can we get, what he wanted to build out the next phase, and we're like, well, you're past all the expirations.
Mhm.
You now need to meet today's standards. We're gonna want recreation areas. We're gonna want something. And he was like, I just don't want to do that. I need variances to meet all different things
Okay.
have changed. So he just doesn't want to do it. He just wants his bond back.
Okay, so I would make a recommendation that as, provide him his bond back as acceptable to the town engineer and you.
Okay, yep, and we've already looked
Okay.
at the original
And
zoning
just to make
officer
sure
and the
that
engineer
it
looked at it.
creates a complete project.
It is. It's a
Okay.
complete project. There's just a few things that years
Yeah.
ago probably weren't signed. Like
So that,
we would have been more meticulous, maybe of like, I look at things like, if they say there's 10 flowering plants, I'm gonna do that.
Let's just vote on
Yeah.
this.
Oh, it
Okay.
was voted on. You just had a motion on it.
We had a motion and a second, but we didn't
Oh,
vote.
okay,
Okay,
okay.
so
Let's
that-
just vote on it.
that's my,
All
yeah.
in favor?
Aye.
All right.
All right.
That doesn't like-
So the next one is I'm
If you
tabling.
guys want to yak about it later, you go ahead.
No, all right.
So the next one is the release of a bond for SDP 1043 2637 Turnpike. And,
We want to table it. That's a motion to table, please.
okay,
That
so-
came in and then we're tabling it
So let's table that.
for the August meeting.
Notice that the COCD meeting that was to be held last week has been canceled, and the next meeting will be October 13th.
Yeah.
Okay.
And then I have for staff report, I just want to read in Jason's letter. We said, Dear Betsy Barrett, Dear Betsy, due to starting a new job and residency in the state of Washington, it is with sadness that I tender my resignation from the Commission on the City Plan as an alternate member effective immediately. I'm grateful for having the opportunity to serve on the board of this fine organization for the past few years, and I offer my best wishes for its continued success. Sincerely, Jason Porter. He was a really wonderful member of this commission, and I think is the short time that he did serve, he really was impactful, and he was a great volunteer, and I wanted to thank him on the record.
Oh, that's very nice.
Yeah.
Do we know who he's working for?
No,
Wow.
no.
Top secret?
He moved to
Washington
Washington.
State.
Yeah, I don't
Yeah,
know,
He's already
no.
out there.
Yeah, I don't know. But nope, that's it.
He used to be our GIS person.
Oh.
Really upset.
Yeah, I'm sure.
All right, so anything else from staff?
Staff
yeah?
report, Frank filed, Frank came in today and signed the Mylars for the Hale Mill. So, so they're really, now that the Mylars are here, the intention was to have them signed. We just got them like yesterday. So I think things are moving along. We got the building permit application and the building plans, the construction plans, drawings, and the city, because we're short on a building official, has hired outsourcing plan review for that hotel. So we can get that done, but I'm not sending it out till I know that the Mylars are filed. So they're not expending money at the city until I know that they will file those Mylars, you know. So that's the staff report there. Lots of projects coming forward in the city. Today, you'll see on Channel 8 News potentially tonight that we met up at Panema Mills at the Southern Mill, that they have received their grant for remediation of $780,000, I think it was. And everybody was all, they're going to have this many units and this and this. And I pulled Finn aside and said, when are you getting a site plan application in? Because, you know, they're talking about what they're going to put there in residential and a restaurant and things, but they haven't come before us for those approvals. So we're expecting that application to be coming in the fall. So things, because they're going to do the remediation, but there's a lot of irons in the fire for the commission to consider in the future. And where Dan and I are very busy, we have a summer intern that's working on the sidewalk assessment. So he's using GIS and using GPS and locating all the problem sidewalk areas, taking pictures of everything, doing it on our mapping, updating all that information, and he's doing it as a planning project for us. We have a scholarship from the Connecticut chapter of the APA to pay him. He's doing a phenomenal job, and he's only got a couple weeks left, and he has been just banging it out and doing a great job at it. So we're hoping, and if he doesn't finish, there'll only be a little left, and Dan thinks he'll complete it, and Public Works it'll be a wonderful tool because it'll actually point out the areas that they really should be focusing on first. So for
Because
sidewalks.
we really have horrible pedestrian facilities
Yep.
here.
So we're
Yeah,
hoping
good.
to do that.
Good.
So, and that's what we're
Excellent.
working on. I guess that's it. Dan, anything else you want to add from a standpoint for that? From staff report?
No, I just add that the 2 days after the last regular meeting, we did the sidewalk bump out project in Greenville, and that was hugely successful, and the residents loved it. It was in both local papers, and we've already had requests to do it in a number of other spots in the city. So hopefully we can put it in a few more places, make it easier for people to cross the street.
Yeah, and people loved it. They loved the flags. They just came out and helped, and it was really fun. You know, you don't always get to do those fun planning projects. It was a good
Yeah.
one. Thanks, Dan, for being behind that and being the lead actually on that whole project.
All right. Anything else?
Make a motion to adjourn.
Motion to adjourn, all in favor?
35.
Thing.
Yes,
Second, unanimous.
I'll second.
Well, we are adjourned, and everybody enjoy the rest of the summer. Thank you for your participation tonight.
See you in
and
August.
see you